Hello, honorable members of the clan. So let's go to the Gauteng High Court where the Senzo Mayowa murder trial resumed this morning. Guys, if you listened to my live last night, I said, listen, this is so easy. It's so easy and it's going to persuade Judge Rata to rule in favor of accused number 3, that is Mr. Mngube, by just quoting the Constitution, Section 35. While Mr. Mnisi then added the subsection 3 on that, of course, it talks about a fair trial. For Mr. Mngube to have a fair trial, hence he raised his hand when Mr. Mabasa was talking about inserts that were in his teeth, on his tooth, whatever the case is, and he was like, take me to a dentist. And I would also add that not just the state take me to a dentist, but also a dentist of my own that I'm going to try my level best to pay from my pocket. And then there was a bit of a tug of war, and then the judge at the end asked the state, what do you think? The state was like, we object. And we were like, okay, you say you confidently have evidence against Mr. Mngube, and now when Mr. Mngube is challenging you to actually confirm this accusation that you are so sure of, that will add to the prospect of winning the case beyond a reasonable doubt, and you object. And then I was like, no, all these international authorities that Judge Rata challenged the defense on Thursday last week by saying, oh, well, I'm also going to be, we have the Constitution. Because you are going to tell us about cases that happened hundreds of years ago, 50 years ago, 55 years ago. We live in a constitutional dispensation. That word, my mind is locking. Yeah, we dispensation. That's where we are at. If you are going to quote cases, we must quote cases that will align with the Constitution of the Republic. Because as I understand it now, thanks to Eugene, the common law in this country needs to be developed onto the Constitution. So then when I was like, that sounds interesting. So that means I cannot quote and be persuaded by a case that is going to override the Constitution of the Republic, particularly where fundamental human rights are concerned. And I think Judge Rata has been taking a lot of, or maybe granting a lot of submissions by the state, quoting old cases. So this morning, I was super happy that, you know what, even Mr. Ramusipili, when he stands up, he needs to stand up on Section 35. When Mr. Ngumalo stands up, he needs to also stand up on Section 35. And Mr. Mshololo, when she stands up, she needs to stand up on Section 35. Fairness. Because the current witness is pointing things that Mr. Mngube confidently says, let's challenge it. Prove it. And I will prove to you that I have never had inserts in my mouth. So this is where we are at right now. Mr. Mnisi delivered a beautiful heads of argument, even though he says that his computer was dancing around, hence he could not submit to his colleagues on time. Maybe I think he wants to make Mr. Baloy taste his own medicine about submitting things at a late stage where they don't have the time to go through that, and yet you want to push for progress. So now the defense has to get up, because sometimes I think he traps them by submitting things late so that they would ask for postponement, and that gives them time. I think that's the strategy. So Mr. Mnisi was like, nah, two can play that game. Because not that I'm saying I don't believe you, Mr. Mnisi, but to me it seemed like a strategy. It seems like a strategy. But anyways, even the state, when they get up on that, what do you call this, with the response of of Mr. Mnisi's head of arguments, They also need to stand on the Constitution. And you cannot argue that. The Constitution is the supreme law of South Africa and it's highly persuasive. No precedent that you can get anywhere else in the world that is going to override the Constitution. Because fair trial is enshrined in our Constitution. And those authorities, some of them that I've read, they're just talking about, the accused to have a fair trial, they need to what do you call this, get a medical examination if they request one. Now to say, oh, we don't have a precedent of this nature in South Africa, and I know this for a fact, and then you go to the colonies and bring me authorities that are going to persuade me to grant Mr. Mncube his request. Because I feel like this was so unnecessary on Thursday. It was so unnecessary. All that Judge Rata had to do was to use his discretion as the court to say, hey, listen, I grant this request or I deny it, and then justify why. In fact, he's the one who's supposed to have come today with authorities that grants him the authority to deny the request. Which authorities did you take from? So that the defense can argue or appeal and say, based on the Constitution, section 35(3) of the Constitution, this is what it says. But no, he throws it onto them and makes them run on a wild goose chase. And I'm still calling it a wild goose chase because he knows that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. And whatever else that he's trying to make them run for, it's going to be frivolous. Waste of time. And I cannot believe he almost got away with 2 weeks. Thank goodness that Mr. Doctor was like, no, Tuesday. Oh, no, Tuesday. I don't think he was reading between the lines. It all flew over his head. But nonetheless, we thank him for saying, no, let's come back on the 17th of June, 2025, because everybody will be ready. And look, Mr. Mnisi was right. I mean, from Thursday to Monday when he thought it was more than enough, he did a great job. Absolutely an amazing, brilliant job. And Mr. Mnisi, of course, is showing his experience in this case. And we are enjoying seeing him teach us about the law and also chasing after justice. That seems to be here, but it's evading deliberately by people who are not supposed to be doing that. There are people that were with Senzo Mayo on the 26th of October 2014. Why aren't they accused number 6 to 11? Why are they not? Let's say they were all involved, but why? Okay, fine, where's the mastermind? Why the mastermind still enjoying her life as a free woman, and yet an entire courtroom, her name keeps coming up? I will never understand that. And this trial will never be fair until Kelly Khumalo is arrested, she is indicted, and then goes through the magisterial process, and then joined with her co-accused. It will never be a fair trial until that happens. Whether she did it or not, which I don't think so. I don't think she's a mastermind, but I think she does know who did it. That one, I have no doubt in my mind. She does know who did it, but she's not a person that put out a hit on the father of her child. For what good reason? She was not married to him. Even if our assets had to be distributed, her daughter was going to get a tiny portion of whatever it is that she might have wanted him gone for. It doesn't make sense. But anyways, I'm super impressed that they're about to come back, and let me wrap this up. I'll see you next time with a new video. But before you go, please like, share, and comment, and subscribe. Very important that you subscribe, because I'll come back with Mr. Ramos Sipili's submissions. And I hope he also sticks on section 35(3) of the Constitution. Persuasive. Very, very persuasive. Goodbye, guys.